What's up, guys? And this squirrel here in the parking lot. I'm Isaac here at Back Road Harley-Davidson with your pre-owned motorcycle of the week. This 2024 Harley-Davidson Breakout. So I have a bone stock, pretty bone stock, if not bone, then maybe like the next level up muscle stock. Really don't see anything changed on this bike, but it's a 2024 Harley-Davidson Breakout in beautiful chrome and this gorgeous new Alpine green. Oh, there we are. LED turn signals, not bone stock, muscle stock. There it is. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the only thing done to this bike. That and the previous owner put about 2,400 miles on it, but it's ready for a new owner, ready to get back on the road and go eat some more miles up. So it does have LED turn signals, so that way you can just let everyone know where you're going a little bit better. But I'll go ahead and show you the rest of the lighting on this bike. So I'll flip that switch there. So you have your turn signals, which do change color. Go over your hazards right there, so that's pretty cool. But then when they're not on, it just looks like that. So then you have this pretty unique LED headlight right there, and then on the back of this motorcycle you do have LED brake lights as well. And so here's what the view is from the cockpit, which you'll get a good view of this here in just a little bit. All of your readouts are right here on this screen there. Pretty simple, 5-gallon tank, asymmetrical, so no cap on this side, just your fuel door right there. It is a 6-speed transmission, 117 Milwaukee 8. Low and ready to rock and roll like that guy. So pretty sweet bike. I mean, it's got a ton of chrome, so we'll give you the history of the Breakout like we do on all of our Breakout videos here in just a little bit. But other than that, that's pretty much everything about this bike. I mean, look how gorgeous that thing is there in the sun. Oh yeah, this bike is just the bike you want sitting on the curb, ready to go, waiting for you outside to go tear up the street. So stick around with us as we go and do that right now. And we are good to go on this 2024 Harley-Davidson Breakout. Like I said, pretty fresh off the showroom floor, looks like. Just 2,500 miles, give or take, on it. Yeah, it's a little bit warm, so we're going to take a little bit of a different route, see how it does out there in the countryside a little bit more today. It is keyless entry, so I do have the key fob in my pocket. So all I have to do is have the fob in my pocket or at least nearby, and it will let me fire it up when I get on it or when I'm right beside it. So cool. And let's see, you can do a full light show every time it starts up there for you. A couple things to note here for you. So when they do start up, if they're off, you'll probably see the check engine light and the oil pressure light because it's not on. So that's why those are on. But you'll also see the ABS and the traction control light flashing. Those are flashing because every time the motorcycle cuts on, it does checks to make sure everything's good before you go and ride. And same thing with those. It's doing those checks, but it can't really complete those checks until you're moving because it has to see, because part of those sensors involve the wheel speed. So they can't do those checks until you're moving. So you're going to see those lights flashing until you've been moving for a little bit. Now, when those lights are on after you've been moving for a little while, that's when you've got an issue to get checked out. So fire it up, and you'll see half those lights have already shut off. And now I'm in neutral. Now I'm in first, ready to rock and roll. It's already warmed up. Everything's warmed up outside right now. Yeah, so show you this gauge here nice and close. I've got miles on the bike, and I've got my speed right above that. And I've got a fuel gauge just to the left of that. So let's go ahead, Breakout, ready to break out. Oh yeah, 117 air and oil cooled Milwaukee 8, ready to rock and roll, as are we. So I'll make some minor mirror adjustments here right quick. One of the biggest concerns people have with Breakouts is how good they are at cornering. So we're going to take a slightly different route that requires a little bit more cornering. Let's see how that does. So one of the other biggest issues people have is with this air cleaner. With the forward controls of the air cleaner, a lot of people have their shin right here on it. I can already tell it's not. It definitely would take a little bit of adjustment to get used to, but it's not bad. That definitely wouldn't make or break the bike for me, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, it looks really good with it. I mean, when my leg is back just a little bit, it's good. But if I'm like way up there on the peg, I'm sitting on it just a little bit there. So no windshield, so good full breeze here on us. So good suspension too. It is on that soft tail platform, so it just has the one mono shock back there, so it's feels good. So a couple things to talk about here right off the gate, right out of the gate, off the bat. One of those things. It is the 2024 Breakout. So the Breakout has gone through a couple iterations. We saw it on the twin cam Softail, nothing too crazy, and then it was carried over to the Milwaukee 8 Softail platform pretty early on. It was discontinued a few years after that. It ran for a few years. It had the 107, I want to say it had the 107, and then it got the 114, but it was still only rocking that. It was still only rocking like a 3.5 gallon tank. So we're gonna go straight and party down Lake Wheeler a little ways. But it was still only rocking about a 3.5 gallon tank. Now, and it did have the same headlight on some of the earlier ones too. But went over to the Milwaukee 8 platform, then it was discontinued. And it wasn't until, I want to say last year, 2023, that it got brought back and was sort of reamped a little bit. So it got the 117 Milwaukee 8, it got a little bit more chrome, it got the 5 gallon tank, it got the big exposed air cleaner. I mean, it's ready to go now. So it came back pretty hard because people loved the Breakout. They love how this bike looks, and a lot of people really like how it rides too. Also got a new seat because they had to have a new seat to account for that bigger tank. And I really like how this one feels. This one really locks you in. I had ridden one recently that just had a little bit taller riser on it, so it kind of brought you back a little bit more. And that one was very comfortable. I could ride that one all day. So this one does have cruise control. So it got cruise control. That's pretty huge. Pretty big deal on this bike. So it's going to be a little bit more enjoyable to go rip around on. So I'm enjoying ripping around on it. Another divisive matter on this bike is the instrument gauge right there. So some people like a big tack or a big speedo right up top, but this one's pretty simple. Everything's right here with your indicator lights right below that, so it helps keep this view a little bit tidier for you. So it's really, you're just gonna check. You're not gonna be looking at it the whole time. You're gonna check your fuel every now and then. You're gonna check your miles. You're gonna glance down to make sure your speed's good. But other than that, your eyes are gonna be on the road. So eyes are gonna be on the road, looking to where you're going. So watching for hazards and enjoying the beautiful scenery, which is what we're about to go do. So let's see. It is a very warm day in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we'll see if you guys recognize this route. I would have had to get on it to make that light, which this Breakout could have done. I have also ridden a Breakout that had a little bit of motor work done to it before. And that was cool. That was a cool experience because it has such a big rear tire on it that, I mean, losing traction is not a very large concern, if you can believe it. It is very easy to hold on to the road a little bit better on that bike. So that's good. It'll hook and it'll rip. So ton of fun. Now, you know, is it something? Oh, we got the old Africa Twin up there. Wild. Yeah. Now, is it something I'd want to go tear up some canyons with, or us partying? I don't know. Maybe. It's a motorcycle, so I mean, you're gonna enjoy it. Are you gonna be able to keep up with super sports on this thing? You know, if it's a pretty new rider on it, maybe. But for the most part, no. That's just not what this bike's for. You know, this bike's for cruising around town. It's for cruising. It is a cruiser. So can you rip it? Yeah, absolutely you can. But it's gonna cruise really, really well, as we're about to see right here. Missed my visor. That was embarrassing. I probably could afford to move that shifter back, or bring it off and then bring it up just a little bit to get my foot under there a little bit better. So this Alpine Green might be one of my favorite colors to come out this year. I mean, look at that thing. Look how the sun hits it. I hit the shade patch right here so you can see it dance a little more. It just looks so good. It's, you know, it's deep. It's almost like a jade or an emerald, but it's gorgeous. So, and here we are out on the countryside. I'll set the cruise let you enjoy this view today. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous day for a ride. Not gonna worry about letting you hear this exhaust too much because it's stock pipe still, so it's pretty quiet. So itching to get swapped out with something a little more exciting. But when you get on it, I mean, it still feels Harley. It still feels like a Harley-Davidson. Now we're starting to hit some turns. Now, if you've ridden in Raleigh before, this is actually a pretty decent little loop right here, just south of the dealership. So you come down, you just come out the back way, hop up from the dealership, hop on Lake Wheeler, and blast down this way a little bit, go by NC State's Research Farms, and then hook a right here. So, and unfortunately I did not get to show you the dam, my bad. So there's two options here. So one thing I like to do, a couple times I've done this route, is you can take the long route or the short route here. And normally I'd go with whichever one doesn't have a car, but I'm a sucker for a good tree canopy, which is a really good one on the longer route. But we're gonna do the short one here for you, just so you can see us take a couple turns with this bike. So, let's see, cruising in 4th gear. Let's see, I've got a trip A, trip B, fuel range. I've got my clock, and I'll put it in the RPM mode right here too, so I can glance down at that a little bit, see how she's doing. I'm also going to ease up so we're not riding right on this Prius the whole time. Ooh, a little swerve. Yeah, is it the best bike for ripping twisties? It does alright though. It's fun. It's a cool looking bike. If you enjoy, does it have to be, that's a fun part, you know. Does the bike have to be the best at ripping twisties? No. All that really matters is, do you enjoy riding where you want to ride and where you're gonna ride on your motorcycle? That's what matters. If you like how it feels to take these 20-mile-an-hour turns on this Breakout, then have fun. I'm not sure how much lean I got, so we're playing it safe. Don't want to go scrape up new pegs, newer pegs, lightly pre-owned pegs. Beautiful scenic rides. This is a nice little ride. I think this is Penny Road right here. So it's got a few nice little turns in it. Just enough to let you feel how the bike does some, you know. Let's see, I'll double check. I think this is Penny. Yates Mill Pond Road, my bad. The other road is Penny. This is Yates Mill Pond. So yeah, let you get a couple turns in here just to feel the bike out some. That 20-mile-an-hour one back there, that's probably one of the best ones on this track. There's another 35 up here, which is pretty good. So that's a pretty little garden. And now so that's the really cool part about Spackert Road, is just how close we are to the countryside. I mean, you turn around, you're right there downtown, or you just blast down this way 5 or 10 minutes and cut through NC State's farmland, and then here we are. That's new. And then here we are on little country road. Would I want to ride this little country road at 5 o'clock? Nah, this gets kind of busy out here pretty quick. But right now, it's not bad at all. It's a beautiful day to go ride out here. I need to rip it for you guys. Let's see, that's 55, or that's 4th gear, 2,500 RPMs. See how it does from a dig. Does alright. Does alright, I would say. It's got some torque to get you going. One thing I am noticing I'm doing is I'm kind of setting it in cruise a little bit, and that way I can kind of sit up straight a little bit better. I guess I can kind of scoot a little bit more forward, but this seat really locks you in here. It's got a lot of cushion, but a lot of good firm cushion, so you're really in here. This is a gorgeous motorcycle though, so Check it out. Look at that thing. Look at all that chrome on this thing. And look at this green light. Track's so good too. I mean, it's pretty comfortable on this big old rear tire. I mean, it's cozy. It just takes all the bumps right out. Not all the bumps, but most of them. Makes it comfortable for sure. It's just such a good cruiser. It's classy, it's raked out, big front wheel. I want to say 21-inch front wheel, something like that. Contrast cut wheels. I mean, this is a bike that when you ride it somewhere, people are gonna say like, "Hey, that's a nice bike." You take it downtown somewhere, park it out front. Folks are gonna tell you, they're gonna be like, "Wow, that's a cool bike, man." And you'll say, "I know," but then you also say thank you. Yeah, so how to do the curbs? It did great. It was fun. Again, you know, had to work it just a little bit more. Had to kind of lean off the bike some, but it was fun. I still had a good time. I'd still ride it out there. If this bike was my daily, and somebody was like, "Hey, you want to go ride to the mountains this weekend?" I'd go with them. I'd take this bike up there. I'd probably want a little bit taller risers, or maybe like a pullback plate or something like that. But this wide bar here really gives you a lot of, similar to the Fat Bob, you know, it really gives you a lot of good leverage on it. So it makes it pretty easy to move this big old bike around in those curves. It is nice to really feel locked in, nice already, kind of nice and low on this bike for when I do go ribbit, make like a frog and ribbit. I need a t-shirt. I need to make that on a t-shirt. Nobody take that idea from me, please. If you do, I would like you to send me one. Just mail it to the dealership and put my name on it, please. Hot take, tell me what you think. I think the Alpine Green would look good on black trim. Like, we've got the Road Glide. We have an Alpine Green Road Glide, but I want to say you can only get the touring bikes in a chrome trim, or at least with the Alpine Green paint. But I think it would look pretty good with the black trim. I mean, look at the Pan America. Like, it's got a lot of black in it. It's pretty deep and dark, and it looks pretty good in that paint color. I think this bike would look good blacked out, or I think a blacked out Road Glide, blacked out trim on a Road Glide would look good on Alpine Green paint. You know, if it's between a smart car or a motorcycle, I feel like you're better off with the motorcycle. I mean, think about it, like a Road Glide or a smart car. I feel like I can fit more stuff in a Road Glide. More people will probably wave at me. I would take up less parking in a Road Glide than a smart car. I can still fit 2 people on it. I'm gonna have to run those numbers, but I think there's a very large amount of people riding smart cars that need to be on motorcycles. If you're watching this video and you have a smart car, that probably means you're eyeballing a motorcycle. Should just run a Road Glide. Excellent fuel economy, probably better range. You're probably gonna have more fun at a motorcycle rally than a smart car rally. I've never been to a smart car rally, but if anyone has, let me know how that is. What we got here? What is that? Sport bike of some sort. 2 of them. What we got? Don't you hate it when you're like trying to see a vehicle going by, but you're gonna pass like a bush or another car like just at the perfect time where you're not able to see
what that other thing is. As hot as it's been today, all of a sudden, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a pretty nasty storm. But I'll tell you, this one is hot. This is a fun bike. As I told you how great the suspension is. This is the 2024 Breakout, slightly pre-owned. It is pre-owned, but just barely. 2,500 miles just over on it. And it's ready to rip. It's ready for a new owner to go show it off on the street. It's in the gorgeous Alpine green. The Breakout had a lot of really good colors this year and last year. I think this year they're all very sharp. I think we've got most of the colors available right now on the new ones. But I do have this pre-owned 24 right here for you. So if you want to know more about the Softails, the Breakouts, Harley-Davidsons, or good places to eat around Raleigh, then be sure to stop by. Come see us here at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. So in the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.